The Zodiac Killer, a name that sends shivers down the spine. He remains a ghost, a spectre haunting California's past. For decades, his identity has remained a mystery. He's a chilling reminder that some cases may never be fully closed. The late 1960s were a time of change and unrest, but amidst the cultural shifts, a nightmare unfolded in Northern California. The Zodiac Killer, with his cryptic messages and brutal crimes, instilled fear in the hearts of many. But who was he? Was he a neighbor, a co-worker, a face in the crowd? The mystery endures. It continues to fascinate and terrify. The Zodiac Killer's story is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. December 20th, 1968. A young couple, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were parked on a lover's lane in Berryessa. Their evening was shattered by gunfire. The Zodiac Killer had claimed his first victims. The following July, another couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, were attacked in Vallejo. Darlene was killed, but Michael survived to provide a chilling description of the assailant. The Zodiac, as he would soon call himself, had struck again. These attacks sent shockwaves through Northern California. The killer seemed unstoppable. He blended in, choosing unsuspecting victims. Fear and uncertainty gripped the region. No one knew who would be next. Law enforcement launched a massive investigation. They followed every lead, but the Zodiac remained one step ahead. He seemed to vanish into thin air after each attack. September 27th, 1969. The Zodiac chose a new hunting ground, Lake Berryessa, a picturesque spot in Napa County. Young couple, Cecelia Shepard and Bryan Hartnell, were enjoying a picnic when a man approached them. He wore a bizarre hooded costume, emblazoned with a crosshair symbol. He bound them and stabbed them repeatedly. Cecelia and Bryan were left for dead. The Zodiac had escalated his brutality. A chilling phone call followed. The Zodiac contacted the Napa County Sheriff's Office, claiming responsibility for the attack. He even boasted about the murders, adding a layer of chilling arrogance to his crimes. Bryan Hartnell survived the attack, providing crucial information about the assailant. Sadly, Cecelia Shepard succumbed to her injuries. The Zodiac had once again brought terror to paradise. The Zodiac Killer was more than just a murderer. He was a showman, a master manipulator who craved attention. His calling card? Letters. He sent a series of taunting letters to Bay Area newspapers. These letters were filled with chilling details of his crimes. He included ciphers, coded messages that he claimed revealed his identity. These ciphers became a morbid obsession for investigators and amateur sleuths alike. The ciphers taunted the police. They represented a twisted game between the killer and the authorities. He seemed to revel in their inability to catch him. One cipher, known as the 408 cipher, was solved relatively quickly. However, it offered little concrete information about the killer's identity. The mystery deepened. The mystery... Section 5. The Name Game. The Zodiac Killer seemed to enjoy the cat-and-mouse game he was playing. He reveled in the fear he instilled. His ego knew no bounds. He demanded that his letters be printed on the front page of newspapers. The media frenzy surrounding the case fueled his desire for attention. He became a macabre celebrity. His crimes splashed across headlines. His name, or rather, the name he gave himself, became synonymous with terror. The pressure mounted on law enforcement to catch the Zodiac. Every resource was poured into the investigation. Tips poured in from the public, but the killer remained elusive. The Zodiac thrived on chaos and fear. He controlled the narrative with each cryptic message and violent act. He had become a nightmare made real. Section 6. The 340 Cipher. One cipher in particular stood out for its complexity, the 340 Cipher. This complex puzzle, sent in 1969, baffled cryptographers for decades. It became the holy grail of the Zodiac case, holding the potential key to unmasking the killer. For years, the 340 cipher remained unbroken. It became a symbol of the Zodiac's enduring mystery. Was it a confession, a taunt, or simply a random string of characters designed to mislead? Then, in December 2020, a team of amateur code breakers made a breakthrough. They cracked the 340 cipher, revealing a chilling message. The message, while disturbing, did not definitively reveal the Zodiac's identity. The 340 cipher's solution, while a major development, only deepened the mystery. It provided more questions than answers, further fueling the public's fascination with the case. Section 7. The Legacy of a Monster. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror eventually faded. His last confirmed victim was Paul Stine, a San Francisco cab driver, killed in October 1969. The killing stopped, but the questions lingered. The Zodiac case became a cold case, but it never went away. It haunted investigators, tormented the families of the victims, and captivated the public's imagination. The Zodiac Killer left an indelible mark on American history. He became a symbol of the dark side of the 1960s, a reminder that even in an era of peace and love, evil could lurk in the shadows. Books, documentaries, and movies kept the case alive in the public consciousness. The Zodiac Killer, despite his best efforts, had faded into myth and legend. But behind the myth, there were real victims, real families forever scarred by his crimes. Section 8. In the Crosshairs. Over the years, numerous suspects emerged in the Zodiac case. Each had their own compelling links to the crimes, but none could be definitively linked to all of them. The killer, it seemed, was a master of deception. One suspect in particular stood out, Arthur Lee Allen. Allen was a former schoolteacher with a history of violence and a fascination with codes and ciphers. Allen's name had been on the radar of law enforcement from the early days of the investigation. He owned a watch with the same crosshair symbol as the Zodiac. He even admitted to knowing details of the crimes that had not been released to the public. Despite the circumstantial evidence, Allen was never charged with any of the Zodiac killings. He maintained his innocence until his death in 1992. Section 9. The Allen Enigma. Arthur Lee. Allen's possible connection to the Zodiac case is a study in frustration and ambiguity. He remains a perplexing figure, a puzzle piece that never quite fit. On the one hand, there is compelling evidence linking him to the crimes. His physical appearance matched the description provided by survivors. He owned a bloody knife and a typewriter linked to the Zodiac letters. On the other hand, some key pieces of evidence didn't add up. His fingerprints and DNA did not match those found at the crime scenes. His alibi for the night of Paul Stine's murder checked out. Allen's death in 1992 seemed to close the book on his involvement in the case. However, his name continues to be mentioned in connection with the Zodiac. He remains a tantalizing suspect, a source of endless debate and speculation. Section 10. Science to the rescue? In the years since the Zodiac's last known murder, forensic science has advanced in leaps and bounds. DNA analysis, in particular, has revolutionized criminal investigations, providing a powerful tool for identifying perpetrators and exonerating the innocent. The Zodiac case, with its abundance of physical evidence, seemed ripe for a DNA-driven breakthrough. Investigators hoped that modern technology could finally provide the answers that had eluded them for so long. DNA testing of the evidence has yielded some intriguing, albeit inconclusive results. While no perfect match to a suspect has been found, DNA profiles have been developed. These profiles could be used to rule out suspects or potentially provide a link to a familial match. The hope is that as DNA technology continues to advance, a definitive answer may yet be found. The possibility, however slim, offers a glimmer of hope for the families of the victims and a chance to finally close the book on one of America's most enduring mysteries. Section 11. Will the Zodiac speak? The Zodiac Killer's case remains unsolved but not forgotten. It continues to fascinate and horrify, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. The mystery endures, a puzzle waiting to be solved. Will we ever know the true identity of the Zodiac Killer? Perhaps, perhaps not. But the search for answers continues. Investigators, armchair detectives, and the public remain captivated by the case. The Zodiac case serves as a reminder that even the most baffling mysteries can potentially be solved. With advances in forensic science and the dedication of those determined to seek justice, there is always hope. Perhaps one day, the Zodiac's mask will finally be removed and the world will finally know the name of the monster who terrorized California.